What up, y'all? This is Tracy from Nerd Squish, and today we're going to talk about Slaughter Sinema 2, our very first announcement for Halloween Horror Nights 33. Get your popcorn ready because we have our very first announcement for Halloween Horror Nights 33, and it is not an intellectual property. Bold move, Universal. So our very first house is Slaughter Sinema 2, which is of course a sequel to the fan favorite Slaughter Sinema that was featured at the event in 2018. The house was announced during a panel at Spooky Empire in Orlando, Florida on Friday, May 17th. The official announcement from Twitter or X or whatever the heck it's called today states, if you're dying for a B-movie horror marathon, head to the Cary Drive-In. Scream through scenes from creature features, grindhouse gore, spaghetti westerns, and more. During the panel, they stated that this house will feature 8 brand spanking new B horror movies, and it will also have callbacks to the original Slaughter Sinema. They also unveiled a character from one of the new films titled Heavy Metal 3D. So we got this skeleton dude, he's got the brightly colored mohawk, the leather jacket, some mesh apparel, and of course a sweet wallet chain. To me, he's giving more punk rock than he is heavy metal. You know, I feel like this guy is less likely to be seen at a Iron Maiden, Metallica concert, but he's definitely listening to maybe Rancid or the Distillers. But now that we've seen this character, we know where the inspiration came from for all the designs that we've seen on the t-shirts that have been released this year. Now it's pretty weird for HHN's first announcement of the year to be an original house. You know, normally they knock it out the gates. The first announcement of the year is like just some huge property to build the hype for the event, to get people to buy those tickets, to have people yearning to walk through those gates. My feelings on this are kind of 50-50. You know, on one hand, if you're not an obsessive Halloween Horror Nights fangirl, the average Joe is not going to know what this means. This is not going to get them to be like, yes, let's go to Halloween Horror Nights. But on the other hand, it is showing that Halloween Horror Nights is catering to their fans. It's not just 100% trying to make money, but they're actually caring for what people are liking and what they want to see again at the event year after year. Now, I also feel like with the 6-4 split that we had on the latest spec map in favor of originals, this just kind of proves my theory that Halloween Horror Nights is budgeting so that they can put more money towards their latest park epic universe. Now, this is not me saying that Halloween Horror Nights is gonna look a little ratchet, you know, that they're not gonna do the best thing that they could. It's just that they can save money if they're doing their own original things and not, you know, having to do these trademarks and licensing deals with other companies, you know what I mean? Now, I love a good B horror movie, and I do kind of like this concept of like the drive-in theater. You're stepping into the movies. It's super, super fun. Now, I did not get to go to the event in 2018, therefore I never got to walk through this house. For someone that is so obsessed and just deep diving into the lore of this event, I've actually only been 4 times in 2017, 2019, 2021, and 2022. So, even though I haven't been there every year since the beginning of time, I'm pretty well versed on this event and its lore. So, I figured let's break this down. For those of you who are going to the event for the first time this year, or maybe you're just like, I don't get into all the details. I don't know the lore. I want to break down Slaughter Sinema. That way you kind of know what you're getting into in Slaughter Sinema 2. Now, before we get into the details, if you're a returning viewer, hey, how you doing? Welcome back. And if you're new here, this is Nerd Squish, where we take everything spooky and we take everything nerdy and we squish it all together. So if you like horror movies, Halloween, and pop culture, definitely hit that subscribe button so you can see more videos from us in the future. The original Slaughter Sinema house featured 10 B horror movies and was featured at the event in 2018. Now, after the insane and obnoxious and ignorant amount of time that you stood in this queue line, you see the facade, and it's a drive-in movie theater in Cary, Ohio. Cary, Ohio is very important in HHN lore. It's the hometown of one of the creators of Halloween Horror Nights, and so therefore it's a reoccurring setting for a lot of the houses and scare zones at the event. So many of these original characters and original houses can all be tied back to Cary. Now the lore with Cary, Ohio, and all the connections to it, that can be a whole video in and of itself, because there's a lot to talk about. Lucky for you, I made that video back in 2021, so if you want to check that out, you can click here. I'll also drop that into the description box, that way you can know a little bit more about Cary, Ohio. So what you're experiencing when you step through this house is you go through a lobby, you're seeing movie posters, so then when you would walk through for each little section of the house, you'd see a movie poster for whatever movie it was, and then you'd step through and you're inside of that movie. And the movies were as follows. The Foul Fists of Dr. Faustus. That just felt appropriate, so just go with that. Now this one wasn't expanded upon very much. We have this white-haired man with a beard and claws, and for some reason, he's fighting a guy dressed like a pirate, and there's a bunch of lasers. I don't know. The next movie that we transition into is Sorority Sacrifice. Now this movie follows Walter, who's a nerd. He gets invited to a sorority party, but when he gets there, he realizes that he was only invited because he's a virgin and he's gonna be sacrificed to a tentacle monster. It happens. The next movie that we walk into is Devil Dogs. In this brilliant concept, a biker gang of werewolves are wreaking havoc in a biker bar. Now, if you've been around here at Nerd Squish for a while, you know that I am completely obsessed with this concept and I need more. Werewolf bikers in a 70s biker bar? Who doesn't love that? Losers, that's who. I'm really hoping that this is one of the properties, one of the movies or the characters that we have a little callback to in this sequel house, because the way I will fangirl in that house, even though I never even experienced the first one, is gonna be ridiculous. The next movie is Pumpkin Guts, and in this one we follow the story of Mr. Carver, who has a little pumpkin patch and allegedly has the best pumpkins in town. However, he's got a little secret. He actually has a deformed son that he keeps chained up inside of his shop. His son gets loose and proceeds to kill everyone in the town. The fifth movie featured in Slaughter Sinema is Shitty's Kids, which the title just cracks me up. But anyway, Shitty is this dude that has some kids, and he decides to bring them to a very much Chuck E. Cheese type establishment. But the only problem is when he gets there, all the kids go nuts, just start stabbing people with pizza cutters. It's chaos. It's pandalirium. The sixth movie in Slaughter Sinema was Cult of the Beast Baby. This one is pretty wild. It's literally just this like deformed, weird baby that's worshipped by a hooded and masked cult. Cause that, you know, it happens all the time. The seventh movie featured is Amazon Cannibals from Planet Hell. In this movie, we have two astronauts who have crashed on this planet that, of course, has Amazon cannibals, and so, you know, nothing good is happening on that planet. The eighth movie featured was Barber Chop. Now, in this little story or movie, we have Morton Meats, who is a barber, and he's very criticized for his bad haircuts. So naturally, that leads him to just kill all of his customers. Sounds like a great place to take a little off the top. Get it? The ninth movie featured is Midnight Snack 2, The Swarming. This movie is very much gremlins or critters. Basically, this scientist discovers these little creatures who are always hungry, and they just start to go nuts and eat all the scientists in the lab. And the final movie in the original Slaughter Sinema house is Attack of the Swamp Yeti, where we have four friends that go camping and they run into a Yeti. So those are all the movies that were featured in the original Slaughter Sinema house, and the characters and concepts that you should be on the lookout for when you go through Slaughter Sinema 2. Because if we're gonna have callbacks, you never know. You never know. A werewolf biker gang just might show up.
Stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen.
Look, just let me have this. I want these 70 werewolf bikers, okay? Trying to manifest my destiny. I don't know exactly how to feel about a house in this style that's kind of this anthology kind of situation. I'm not a big fan of anthology movies and books and stuff like that. There are exceptions to that rule, okay? Trick or treat, we're looking at you. But most of this kind of stuff, I'm just kind of like, oh, well, if it is a good story, it's like, I want more. Like, elaborate on that. And then we'll switch over to something, I'm like, this is poo. I don't want to hear about this story. Let's go back to the other one. So I don't know, that can kind of go either way. I only really like anthologies when they can all kind of connect together to make a big picture. Overall though, I am pretty excited to see this house considering that Slaughter Sinema is such a fan favorite of this event. So I'm very excited to get a chance to see the sequel of the fan favorite house. Let me know your thoughts on this house down in the comments. Now I know I'm behind on this announcement and I'm also just kind of sporadic with my videos more than usual because let's just be upfront right now that I'm not consistent with my uploads and they've been worse, but life has been pretty rad lately. I've gone to some recent road trips. We went to Austin to go see Sleep Token and I just returned from the Smoky Mountains. So needless to say, life has been rad and I haven't had time to sit down and nerd out here lately and I apologized for that. But don't you worry because I don't have a vacation planned probably until Halloween Horror Nights, which is a little sad. But good for you guys because I'm going to be making a video on every single announcement and update along the way. So if you're going to Halloween Horror Nights, you're definitely going to want to stick around here at Nerd Squish. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so when new videos hit the channel, you'll be notified. And as always, thank y'all for watching, and I'll catch you nerds in the fog!